You can find any nonsense on Twitter. I've seen people claiming that the Earth is flat, that the moon doesn't exist, and that Katy Perry is actually a tree surgeon called Keith. No matter how absurd, you can find it online. You want to see a French bulldog impersonating Chucky, the killer doll from the Child's Play films? Here it is. Like I say, you can get anything on social media if you look hard enough. But sometimes major organisations post tweets that make you assume that they must have been hacked. The other day, we had this real shocker from the Women's March. This is the group that organised the worldwide protests after the election of Donald Trump and has done so regularly ever since. Bear in mind, this account has over 600,000 followers. This isn't just some random Twitter user. So this is an official statement from the group. We apologise deeply for the email that was sent today. $14.92 was our average donation amount this week. It was an oversight on our part not to make the connection to a year of colonisation, conquest and genocide for Indigenous people, especially before Thanksgiving. So, because the donation figure, $14.98, correlates to the year of the first voyage of Christopher Columbus, they've somehow caused widespread offence. I mean, really? Did anyone actually complain about this? I mean, you could do this with anything. If I spend £15.88 on a bottle of champagne, do I have to worry that 1588 was the year that the Spanish Armada was defeated? Does it mean that I want Spaniards to drown? Because I really don't. For the Women's March to apologise for a numerical coincidence is just so tenuous. This would be like the Old Bailey apologising for its famous statue of justice on the grounds that if you squint your eyes, it looks a bit like a swastika. But we shouldn't be surprised that the organisers of the Women's March are paranoid about causing offence. This is what happens when an organisation goes woke. Because one of the key aspects of this new religion is the belief that our reality is wholly shaped by language. This is why they're so insistent on finding words that are problematic and why they support censorship. You'll hear them claim that words are actual violence, that Dave Chappelle's jokes cause actual harm, and that people are made unsafe by hearing opinions they disagree with. The Women's March is actually an excellent example of how organisations become captured by this ideology. In December 2018, a Women's March in California was cancelled because the organisers were afraid that too many white women would turn up. And you'll remember that pink vagina hat that protesters wore at the Women's Marches? Well, the designer of this hat, Catherine Nolan, was later accused of bigotry. Activists said that the hat wasn't sufficiently inclusive, because some people who identify as women don't have vaginas. So get this, Nolan withdrew the knitting pattern and apologised and said she was going to post a new pattern with yellow roses instead. But that could be just as triggering. I mean, what if you'd been attacked by a florist? We need to push back against this absurd, quasi-religious conviction that words are violence and that stand-up comedy, books, film, literature, problematic numbers and pink hats cause real harm in the real world. This is the same mentality that sees people no platformed because some activists don't like what a speaker has to say. It's the same mentality that sees employees at publishing houses revolt because they don't happen to like J.K. Rowling or Jordan Peterson or any of the other folk devils forged in the minds of these fantasists. Let's put it this way. Those who seek offence everywhere are bound to find it. Culture warriors who are convinced that our society is controlled by invisible power structures are bound to see evidence of them everywhere. This movement is dangerous because it has no regard for reality. So it's time to restate the distinction between truth and illusion.